This is Rummy's Corner. Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome to part 9 of 13, the 1970s. Here is the scoring, where 35 volunteers provided me with a chronological list of between 10 and 25 names whom they believe represent the greatest pound-for-pound boxers who competed in the 1970s. Let's rock. Number 10, Carlos Zarate. Zarate was a Mexican boxer known as Cañas. Zarate was best known for his terrific punching power, and he also had an educated, powerful jab. Zarate won the WBC bantamweight title in 1976, and he made 9 defenses of that title over the next 3 years. As always, the record information at the bottom is the current information available on BoxRec and is just here as a point of reference. But as you can see, 63 of his 66 victories impressively came inside the distance. Zarate appeared on 22 out of 35 with 2 votes inside the top 5. Number 9, Wilfredo Gomez. Gomez was a Puerto Rican boxer known as Bazooka, and he was another boxer best known for his tremendous punching power. Gomez won the WBC and Lineal Junior Featherweight Championship in 1977, and he defended that title 17 times well into the 80s. And more amazingly still, all 17 of those defenses came inside the distance, which is a consecutive record in any division. Gomez landed on 27 out of 35, including 2 votes inside the top 5. Number 8, Bob Foster. Foster was an American boxer, known as the Deputy Sheriff later in his career. Foster was yet another boxer known as a powerhouse puncher. Foster won the undisputed World Light Heavyweight Championship back in 1968, which he defended 14 times until 1974, with 10 of those defenses coming inside the distance. Technically, he was stripped of the WBA belt briefly in that reign, which he won back. Foster just missed the cut for the top 10 in the 1960s, finishing 11th in that decade, just 60 points behind. Here, Foster landed on 28 out of 35, with 5 votes inside the top 5. Number 7, Jose Napoles. Napoles was a Cuban boxer known as Mantequilla, which fittingly means butter. Napoles had tremendous all-around talent with smooth movement, stellar balance, and excellent footwork. Napoles was a 2-time undisputed world welterweight champion, the first reign beginning in 1969 and the second beginning in 1971. In combined reigns, he made 13 defenses of the welterweight crown. Napoles finished at number 10 in the 1960s, marking him as the 13th boxer to land top 10 spots in multiple decades. Napoles landed on 28 out of 35 with 12 votes inside the top 5. Number 6, Joe Frazier. Frazier was an American boxer known as Smokin' Joe, and he was known for his relentless swarming pressure style and his creative use of angles to deliver his power. Frazier first won a portion of the heavyweight title in 1968, and in the 70s he became the undisputed world heavyweight champion. Frazier is best remembered for his famous trilogy against Muhammad Ali. Frazier just missed the cut in the 1960s where he finished 12th. But here in the 70s, Frazier landed on 30 out of 35, which included 13 votes inside the top 5. Number 5, George Foreman. Foreman was an American boxer known as Big George, and he was yet another powerhouse boxer known for having tremendous power and the ability to deliver. Foreman was a wrecking ball puncher with an aura of invincibility. Foreman won the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship in 1973, and he twice defended the crown. Foreman, of course, would take a 10-year break starting in 1977, where his amazing comeback culminated in November 1994. But in the 1970s, Foreman was one of the most feared punchers in boxing history. Foreman landed on 31 out of 35, including 13 votes inside the top 5. Number 4, Alexis Arguello. Arguello was a Nicaraguan boxer known as El Flaco Explosivo, the explosive thin man. Arguello was a three-division world champion. He won the WBA featherweight championship in 1974 and became lineal featherweight champion the following year. Then in 1978, he won the WBC junior lightweight title, which he defended until 1980. And later in the following decade, he won another world championship at lightweight. Arguello landed on 32 out of 35, which included 17 votes inside the top 5. Number 3. Carlos Monzon. Monzon was an Argentine boxer known as Escopeta, shotgun. Monzon is perhaps best known for his economical, methodical, and efficient approach, where he was an absolute master at dictating the range, flow, and rhythm of a fight. Monzon won the undisputed World Middleweight Championship in 1970, and he defended that crown 14 times until his retirement in 1977. Monzon is widely recognized as one of the very best to ever do it during the long, rich history of the middleweight division. Monzon landed on a perfect 35, which included 30 votes inside the top 5 and 4 first-place votes. Number 2. Roberto Duran. Duran was a Panamanian boxer known as Manos de Piedra, hands of stone. Duran was an outstanding march-forward pressure boxer with terrific countering skills, elusive defense, slick movement, strong power, and great durability. Duran won the WBA and lineal lightweight world championship in 1972, and he defended that title 12 times, eventually adding the WBC belt to become undisputed at 135. Duran would go on to accomplish much more the following decade, and without knowing for sure, I suspect we'll get to that in the next edition. Duran landed on a perfect 35, including 34 votes inside the top 5, and he also received 13 first-place votes. And finally, at number 1, Muhammad Ali. Ali was an American heavyweight often referred to as the greatest, and he is widely recognized as the greatest heavyweight of all time. Ali possessed a unique combination of speed, movement, and accuracy that beautifully blended with his exceptional ring intelligence, his unwavering heart and determination, and his uncanny ability to adapt and improvise whenever things weren't going his way. Ali was a 3-time world heavyweight champion, first winning the undisputed crown in 1964. He regained the undisputed crown in 1974, and he won the WBA and lineal world championship again in 1978. Ali became the 14th boxer to appear in multiple decades, and indeed, he became the first boxer in the survey to land the top spot in back-to-back decades. Ali landed on a perfect 35. 34 of 35 had him inside the top 5, and he received 18 first-place votes. Here is the final top 10 list from the 1970s. Just missing the cut were Miguel Canto and Wilfred Benitez, each of whom had over 1,000 points, but were both solidly behind number 10 Zarate. And behind those two, we had Antonio Cervantes, Ken Norton, and Danny Lopez to round out the top 15. This was the first time that everyone in the top 10 had over 1,000 points, or technically everyone in the top 12 as it were. And that is largely due to the fact that the 1970s had more volunteers than any previous decade in the series with 35, with the closest being 31 volunteers from the 1940s. By extension, Ali had the most points anyone has received in any given decade to date. The difference between number 1 Muhammad Ali and number 2 Roberto Duran was less than 100 points. 85 to be exact. That's damn close, but not quite as close as the extraordinary three-way race we saw in the 1950s, where the top 3 spots were separated by 85 points, with the top 2 being separated by only 15. Ali and Duran easily had the most first-place votes this time around, and Ali had 5 more, which ultimately gave him the edge here. If Ali were not such a famous iconic figure outside the ring, one might wonder if Duran might not have gotten the nod here. But then again, much of Duran's legacy is based on what he did in the 1980s, after his prime run in his best division. The fact that we have 3 career heavyweights in the top 10 is, I believe, unique. At the same time, it's perfectly understandable to me, given the fact that these were the big 3 from the golden era of heavyweight boxing. Some really good names just missed the cut this decade, but seeing 3 towering heavyweight legends make the cut is perfectly understandable. Once again, we had 4 Americans finish in the top 10, which is tied for the fewest number in any decade, tied with both the 1890s and the 1960s. The other thing I find fascinating is the 100 Average Club, which has a new member in Duran and a repeat member in Ali. I have only been casually tracking this, but I think this is a significant milestone based on the scoring criteria. So in total now, we have 14 instances where someone averaged over 100 points per volunteer. You can visually track that number by multiplying the number of volunteers times 100. But of those 14 instances, there are really just 11 men who did it because 3 of them did it twice. Joe Louis landed the mark with a number 2 finish in the 1930s, and he repeated the mark with a number 2 finish in the 1940s. Sugar Ray Robinson hit the mark with a number 1 finish in the 1940s, and he hit it again with a number 2 finish in the 1950s. And now Muhammad Ali, he hit the mark with a number 1 finish in the 1960s, and he repeated that here in the 1970s with another number 1 finish, marking Ali as the only boxer to date to land the top spot in multiple decades. And with that, Ali also became just the 4th boxer to finish inside the top 3 in multiple decades. The first instance we saw of this was the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Harry Greb. He finished number 3 in the 1910s, then also finished number 1 for the 1920s, marking him as the first in the survey to place inside the top 3 twice. Then the aforementioned, the great Joe Louis, who finished number 2 in the 1930s, and then number 2 again in the 1940s. And another one, the aforementioned Sugar Ray, who was number 1 in the 1940s, and then number 2 in the 1950s. And now, of course, Muhammad Ali finished number 1 in the 1960s, and number 1 again here in the 1970s. What that says to me is that guys like Harry Greb, Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, and Muhammad Ali, these guys were all extremely special in terms of how they are regarded by those participating in the survey. And that sure does make a lot of sense to me, because those are 4 towering legends during the long, rich history of professional boxing. A very special thanks to the 35 volunteers who contributed to the 1970s edition of this boxing survey experiment. I really appreciate you all volunteering your time and knowledge, and for making the commitment. You all rock. Thank you very much. For those who might want to participate in the remaining decades from the series, I provided a link in the description, and all official submissions must be made in that thread over at boxingforum24.com. If you are knowledgeable about any of the remaining eras, and you would like to volunteer, it's never too early, and the series is winding down. So for those of you who are interested in participating in the 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s, please consider joining the fun if you're up to the challenge. The 1980s will remain open for several more weeks as well. So once again, here is the final top 10 list from the 1970s edition of the survey. What do you think of the results here? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. And I do hope you continue along on the journey here when the 1980s results drop and beyond as we continue traveling toward the present. Please stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.